It's the year 2035. Bluey, once the playful pup we all grew up watching, is now all grown up. But then, out of nowhere, a mysterious little pup with sky blue fur, a cheeky grin, and the same spark in her eyes appears on screen. Fans gasp. Could this be Bluey's child? Her name? Roxy. And just like that, the Bluey universe changed forever. In a show packed with lovable characters and heartfelt lessons, the sudden appearance of a new pup, with Bluey's signature energy and something eerily familiar about her ears, sent fans spiraling down a rabbit hole of theories. And we mean full detective mode. Reddit threads lit up, TikTok exploded, and YouTube? Oh, YouTube became a breeding ground for speculation. But here's the thing, who exactly is Roxy? Is she Bluey's daughter? And if so, who's the dad? Mackenzie? Jean-Luc? Someone else entirely? Or maybe, just maybe, Roxy isn't even Bluey's pup at all. The clues are hidden throughout the series, in the colors, in the flashbacks, and even in the way characters look at her. This isn't just a theory, it's a deep dive into what might be Bluey's future. Let's rewind a bit. Remember when we first met Bluey and Bingo? Life was simple. Grannies, duck cake, and Shadowlands. But as the series matured, so did the characters. And now, we're starting to see glimpses of a new generation. Enter Roxy, a fresh face, yet deeply connected to the heart of the Healer family. She doesn't say much, but her presence? Oh, it speaks volumes. Okay, so we've met Roxy. Mysterious, adorable, and somehow familiar. But what if I told you the answers to her origin story were hiding right in front of us the entire time? In her fur pattern, her color scheme, even the shape of her ears. Yup, this pup was designed with secrets, and today we're cracking them open. Let's start with what we know. Bluey, a blue healer pup, has a unique look, sky blue base coat, dark blue markings, and those big expressive eyes. Now take a good look at Roxy. Her base color, almost identical to Bluey's. Same shape. Eye color, practically a carbon copy. It's like looking at a mini Bluey 2.0. Coincidence? Nah. The animators know what they're doing. Then, the plot thickens. Because Roxy isn't just a Bluey clone. Zoom in on her fur pattern. There are specks and swirls that we've never seen on any healer before. Now look at Mackenzie, a border collie with a wild, marbled coat. Or Jean-Luc, the adventurous pup from Bluey's camping trip, with his rich brown fur and calm demeanor. Roxy? She's a blend, a perfect fusion of Bluey's playful energy and someone else's visual traits. This isn't just fan over-analysis either. According to insider info from a podcast, Roxy was designed as a one-third combination of Bluey, Mackenzie, and Jean-Luc. And here's the kicker, the show's creator confirmed it, while laughing. So yeah, we're being trolled, but also guided. The animators want us to notice. This was a deliberate design. Let's talk about symbolism for a second. Bluey's fur has always represented her zest for life. Bright, light-hearted, with bursts of boldness. Mackenzie's chaotic coat, that reflects his boundless imagination. Jean-Luc's earthy tone, grounded, calm, and mature. Roxy's design mixes all three. She's the bridge between playfulness, curiosity, and calm. That's not just design, it's storytelling in pixels. So what are the animators trying to say? It's like they're whispering, this is the future. These stories aren't over. Roxy isn't just a character, she's a symbol of time passing, of growing up, and maybe, just maybe, of a new generation of healers. So if you've ever looked at Roxy and thought, why does she feel so special? Now you know. Her design is a map, one we're about to follow. In the next section, we're diving into Roxy's behavior because her actions say even more than her appearance. And trust me, that's where the theory gets wild. Right, we've studied the clues in Roxy's design. But now let's get into the real detective work, her personality. Because what a character does often says more than how they look. And here's where it gets interesting. Roxy doesn't just look like Bluey, she acts like her. And that changes everything. In the episode where Roxy appears, did you notice how she plays? Bold, confident, imaginative. She leads the play. She creates the rules. Remind you of someone? Yep, Bluey. That same fearless creative spirit that's been a core trait since episode 1. Roxy doesn't wait for permission. She jumps right in. Not only that, but she also uses her imagination to transform the world around her. Whether it's a cardboard box, a garden patch, or just a silly game of pretend, Roxy takes control just like Bluey did when she was little. but it goes deeper. Roxy shows emotional awareness. She picks up on other characters' moods quickly, responds with empathy, and even comforts another pup when it's sad. Sound familiar? That's classic Bluey. Remember how Bluey helped Bingo through her nighttime fears? Or when she realized Muffin needed space in Baby Race? It's that same gentle wisdom, now showing up in Roxy. This isn't just parenting. This is genetics plus environment, wrapped in storytelling. But here's where it flips. Roxy isn't just a copy-paste version of Bluey. She's Bluey evolved. There's a new level of calm in her energy, a sort of thoughtful maturity we didn't see in Bluey until much later. Could that be from her dad, Mackenzie's quiet strength, Jean-Luc's peaceful nature? Roxy's actions tell us she's not just continuing Bluey's legacy, she's expanding it. She's the next chapter, and if the creators are building a bridge from Bluey to Roxy, it makes perfect sense that they'd layer in familiar behaviors, so that when we watch her, we feel something. Nostalgia, recognition, a spark of, wait, I know that energy, every head tilt, every clever quip, every imaginative twist. Roxy is reminding us, this world is growing, and she might just be the future face of it. So what does this mean for Bluey's timeline? Where does Bingo fit into all of this? And could the show be quietly setting us up for a whole new series? Up next, we dive into Roxy's timeline and try to answer the biggest question of all. When exactly are we meeting her? Trust me, this is where things get twisty. Okay, now we've seen the clues in her design, and we've studied her behavior. But there's one giant question hanging in the air. When exactly does Roxy exist in Bluey's universe? Because if Roxy is Bluey's daughter, then where are we in the timeline? And this is where things get interesting. The show might be revealing more than we think. Let's look at the background of Roxy's episode. The setting is subtly different. The colors are softer, more pastel-toned, and there's a sense of calm, almost like we've moved into a slightly futuristic version of the world we know. There's also a noticeable lack of familiar adult characters. No Bandit, no Chili, not even Nana. This could mean we've fast-forwarded, and the torch has been passed. Roxy's speech is also mature for her age. She's playful, sure, but her tone has that grounded warmth, like someone who's been raised with intention. And when you hear her talk, it's hard not to imagine Bluey's voice in there, just a little older, wiser, and now a mom herself. So is this the future? Are we getting glimpses of what life looks like years after the original Bluey timeline? Some fans have suggested this could be a flash forward, a peek into Bluey's future as a grown-up. Others think we might be seeing an alternate universe where characters we know have taken different paths. But here's a twist. What if it's both? What if Roxy is part of a soft launch sequel? A way for the creators to slowly introduce a new generation while still keeping us connected to the old. Think of it as a Bluey legacy arc. It's the same universe, but a new perspective. Let's crunch the numbers. Bluey starts off at 6 years old. Over the seasons, we see birthday episodes and subtle growth. If Roxy is around 4 or 5 years old, that would make Bluey somewhere between 25 and 30 in dog years, depending on how time is passing in the show. Now remember, Bluey's creators are playful with canon. They drop hints without confirming anything, but the math lines up just enough to make this theory very real. Think about what Bluey has always been about: family, growth, and learning through play. A show that evolves as its characters evolve makes perfect sense. So whether Roxy's episodes are set a few years in the future, or part of a dream sequence, or even a new chapter entirely, one thing is clear: we're not in the old Bluey timeline anymore. And that's not a glitch, that's intentional storytelling. But now we hit the biggest question of all. Who is Roxy's dad? We've seen the fan theories, we've seen the debate, and the answer might be hiding in plain sight. Coming up next, we break down the top 3 dad candidates and analyze the DNA of Roxy's personality. Who do you think it is? Don't go anywhere. This is where things get spicy. Alright, so we know Roxy is Bluey's daughter, but here's the million-dollar question. Who's the dad? Fans are split, theories are wild, and the evidence? Oh, it's juicy. Let's dive into the top 3 contenders. First up, Mackenzie, the childhood bestie, the one who's been by Bluey's side through thick and thin. And honestly, he makes a strong case. Let's look at Roxy's fur. Black and white coat. Check. Is it the same pattern as Mackenzie's? Very close. Even her nose and ears carry those signature sheepdog vibes. Plus, Mackenzie's always been brave, dependable, and emotionally tuned in, traits we can already see blooming in Roxy. And if you think back, remember those episodes where Bluey and Mackenzie shared quiet moments? Did you play pretend families? That wasn't nothing. So is it a stretch to imagine their childhood friendship blossoming into something more as they grew up? Not really. Verdict: high chance. Mackenzie is a fan favorite pick. Next up, Jean-Luc, the sweet, French-speaking pup from the camping episode, Bluey's first real crush. Now here's where it gets interesting. Jean-Luc disappeared after one episode but left a huge emotional imprint. He promised they'd meet again someday. Well, what if they did? Fast forward to adulthood. Bluey reconnects with Jean-Luc. They rediscover their bond, and boom, Roxy is born. Roxy's coat, a blend of Bluey's blue and Jean-Luc's tan, her calm, observant personality, classic Jean-Luc. And don't forget, Joe Brums said Roxy was designed as a mix of Bluey, Mackenzie, and Jean-Luc. Could that be a nod to this theory? Absolutely. Verdict: romantic and symbolic. This theory has depth. And finally, what if it's none of the above? What if the creators are introducing someone brand new, a character we haven't met yet? Here's why that might make sense. Bluey is about real life. Sometimes your future partner isn't the person you grew up with. Sometimes it's someone you meet later through work, travel, or just life evolving. Introducing a new dad would give the creators a blank slate, someone with his personality, backstory, and quirks to explore in future episodes. Plus, it keeps us guessing. It lets the focus stay on Bluey and Roxy's bond, while teasing fans with breadcrumbs. Verdict: totally possible and strategic from a storytelling perspective. So, Mackenzie, Jean-Luc, or someone entirely new? The answer may be hidden in the details, or it may be revealed in a future spin-off. But that leads us to an even bigger question. Where is Bluey now? What kind of mom is she? And how does her parenting compare to Bandit and Chili? Stick around, because in the next section, we explore Bluey's transformation from playful pup to powerful parent. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we found. Let's take a moment and really think about it. Bluey, the playful, curious pup we watched grow up, is now a mom. Crazy, right? But here's the thing, Bluey didn't just grow older, she evolved. If Roxy is her daughter, that means Bluey took all those lessons from Bandit and Chili, all the adventures with Bingo, and all the silly games she played as a pup, and brought them into her parenting style. From what we see in Roxy's behavior, her confidence, her creativity, her empathy, it's clear Bluey isn't just a good mom. She's a great one. She probably plays with Roxy the same way Bandit used to play with her, encouraging imagination, making chores into games, teaching life lessons through laughter. And just imagine the bedtime stories she tells. You know they're legendary. Now pause. If you're loving this kind of deep dive into the Bluey universe, this is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of fans who love exploring Bluey lore, future theories, and everything in between. So don't miss out. Okay, back to Bluey. Here's what's really interesting. Roxy seems emotionally intelligent, like she's had a lot of love and guidance. That's classic Chili influence. But she's also goofy, smart, and adventurous. That's pure Bluey. In a way, Roxy is a reflection of everything Bluey learned from her family growing up, except now she's the one passing it on. So what does that say about Bluey? It says she's grown into the kind of adult who honors her past, but builds her own way forward. She's taken the best of what she had and made it even better for her child. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. Up next, if Bluey is this amazing mom, where is the rest of her family now? What happened to Bandit, Chili, and especially Bingo? Yup, it's time to answer that question. Let's talk about the disappearance of Bingo and why fans are so concerned. Okay, let's address the giant, heart-shaped hole in the room. Where is Bingo? Bluey's younger sister, her partner in imagination, the quieter one but always full of surprises. The two were inseparable growing up. So if Bluey's now a mom, raising an adorable pup like Roxy, why haven't we seen Bingo? Fans have a lot of theories. Some believe Bingo moved far away, maybe chasing her dreams, maybe starting a family of her own. Others think she became some sort of artist or traveler, living a life that didn't keep her close to home. And then, there are the darker theories. Some fans think something happened to her, that there's a reason Bluey doesn't talk about Bingo in the future, a reason she's missing from Roxy's life. It's a tough theory to consider, but with a show like Bluey, where emotions run deep, anything's possible. But here's another idea, one that's a little more Bluey-like. What if Bingo is still around, just not always on screen? Maybe she's that cool aunt who shows up with gifts and stories from her travels, or maybe she lives nearby but has her own family and career, and we just haven't met them yet. It would make sense, wouldn't it? The way Bluey looks up to her family, especially Bingo, you know she'd want Roxy to know her too. But still, the mystery lingers, and that brings us to you. What do you think happened to Bingo? Let me know in the comments, because I know you have your own theories, and trust me, I read every single one. Now, we're getting closer to the end of this mystery, but we've saved some of the juiciest theories for last. Let's talk about a question that could change everything we thought we knew. What if Roxy isn't even Bluey's biological daughter? Alright, deep breath. What if Roxy isn't actually Bluey's biological daughter? I know, it sounds wild, but stick with me because this theory is gaining traction. Here's the thing, Bluey has always been a show full of subtle storytelling. It never hands you the answers, it lets you feel them. And that's why some fans think, maybe, just maybe, Roxy didn't come from Bluey the traditional way. Could she be adopted? Think about it. Bluey grew up in a home filled with love, imagination, and empathy. Her parents, Bandit and Chili, raised her with compassion and playfulness. Would it be a stretch to imagine Bluey choosing to open her heart and home to a pup who needed it most? Not at all. In fact, many viewers believe that could explain why Roxy looks like a blend of several characters: Mackenzie, Jean-Luc, and Bluey herself. Maybe she isn't biologically tied to just one family line, but symbolically connected to all of them. And here's another twist. Some fans think Roxy might be the daughter of one of Bluey's friends, maybe even Bingo herself. Something may have happened, and Bluey stepped in to raise Roxy as her own. That would make Roxy both her niece and her daughter. It's emotional, it's layered, and honestly, it feels very Bluey, because in the world of Bluey, family isn't always about blood. It's about love, laughter, and who shows up for you in the biggest moments. So what do you think? Is Roxy adopted? Is she Bluey's niece? Or is this all just one big overthink? Drop your theories in the comments, because the next is even deeper. Okay, here's a theory that might just flip everything we think we know. What if Roxy doesn't even live with Bluey? Let's rewind for a second. In the surprise future episode where Roxy appears, we see Bluey grown up, with Roxy running around full of energy, joy, and that unmistakable healer spark. But here's the thing. Do we actually see Bluey and Roxy living together as mother and daughter? Not exactly. Some fans noticed that the scenes are vague. We don't see a traditional home setting. There's no direct parent-child dynamic shown. It's all subtle, almost dreamlike. Could this mean Roxy was just visiting? Or, buckle up, could that whole future scene be a vision, or even a game? Remember, in the world of Bluey, games are everything. Entire episodes are based on imagination, play, and pretending. So what if that future Bluey moment was just a game they were playing? A what-if scenario? Let's pretend I'm a grown-up and I have a kid named Roxy. It would explain the surreal vibe. It would explain why Bandit looked shocked but not entirely grounded in reality. And it would also explain why so many character design elements feel symbolic rather than exact. But there's more. This theory also supports the idea that Roxy might not be Bluey's daughter in canon, but a beloved character born out of their world of imagination. Which brings up the real magic of Bluey. It blurs the line between fantasy and reality so gracefully you don't even notice until you're deep in the feels. And just when you think you've got it figured out, the next theory walks in and changes everything. In the final section, we're diving into the biggest twist yet. What if Bluey isn't Roxy's mom at all? So, okay, this might sound wild, but stick with me. What if Bluey isn't Roxy's mom? I know. After everything we've talked about, that sounds completely backwards. But hear me out. Let's go deep. What if Roxy is Bluey's little sister, or even Bingo's future daughter? It sounds impossible until you look closer. We've always assumed that Roxy is Bluey's daughter because of their similar coloring, their close bond, and the age difference we think we see. But the show plays with time and imagination so often, we can't really be sure how far into the future we are, or if we're in the future at all. Let's go back to the perfect one-third theory. Roxy was reportedly designed as a perfect visual mix of Bluey, Mackenzie, and Jean-Luc. But why? If she were Bluey's daughter, wouldn't she just reflect Bluey and her mystery partner? Unless she's actually a character created as a metaphor for something bigger. Maybe she's a symbol of the next generation of imagination, friendship, and family. Not biologically anyone's daughter, but emotionally connected to everyone. Maybe Roxy is everyone's kid. She carries Bluey's spirit, Bingo's sweetness, Mackenzie's energy, and Jean-Luc's kindness. A full-circle moment for all the relationships we've watched grow throughout the series. And if that's the case, then the real message of Roxy isn't about DNA. It's about legacy. The legacy of love, storytelling, and imagination. The idea that who we become is shaped by the people we love and the games we play together. That's what makes Bluey so powerful. Not just the cute characters, not just the laughs, but the depth, hidden in plain sight. So whether Roxy is Bluey's daughter, a dream, a future friend, or just a brilliant twist from the creators, one thing is for sure, she's got the whole fandom talking. And that is the mark of a truly unforgettable character. If this blew your mind even a little bit, do me a favor, tap that subscribe button. We've got more Bluey mysteries, theories, and heartwarming stories coming your way every week. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of Bluey, anything is possible. See you in the next one.